Alright, so I was asked how a man of my limited mental capabilities is able to put this handrail together. Look at that. Straighter than the pole your mom dances on. Whoa, total eclipse of the heart. Anyway, initially I was going to make this thing out of wood, but I wanted to make it look less like a deck stairs and more like like I said, the place is supposed to be an art gallery, so I wanted to give it kind of that vibe and also have it be strong. So I decided to go with metal. This previous summer, a lady had me she wanted a metal handrail on her deck, so I got this aluminum thing here. I put my aluminum handrail over her big fat brown deck, and she loved it. However, this shit was expensive, dude. This shit stuff cost a lot of money. And the whole time I was looking at it, I was like, dude, I can make this. I mean, I've never made one before, but I knew I'd be good at it. It also gave me a reason to go hunt down and go to the old metal shop. And cost-wise, all in, I was about $240 on metal. I decided to go with a 2-inch 18 gauge. So if you're ever down south of Dayton and you need some metal, just Google metal. Really, if you're anywhere and you need to buy some metal, just Google metal. The internet's a hell of a thing. But all cards on the table. Largely, I just wanted to play with my welder. I know a lot of guys probably think, oh, you're not a real welder with that little thing there, but let me tell you something. I could weld the butt cheeks of a snowman together with this thing. All right, for anyone who's curious, I don't hate on the Harbor Freight. A lot of people talk Harbor Freight trash, but I will say with hand tools, that sort of thing, if we're talking about hand tools, Harbor Freight, Phillips, your landscaper, they'll take good care of you. But when you're talking about power tools with Harbor Freight, that's a casino with the worst odds on earth. I did pick up this little wire welder. I was lucky enough, I got my husband-in-law. I guess that's the dude who married my ex-wife. I'm going to start husband-in-law as a thing. You guys pass it along. He let me borrow this little wire welder when I had to do my niece's muffler. So I got me one. I liked it. And I got to tell you, when I was working on my van, with light gauge metal, dude, this thing is clutch. This is the best $120-some thing I ever bought. But on the same note, while I was there, I wanted a chop saw that I could get good 90s with. And this thing is the biggest piece of shit I've ever touched. And they wouldn't take it back because it looks like it just beat it up. But I beat it up because it's flimsy. Whatever, dude. I'm neither a genius when it comes to the economy or the environment. But I'm pretty sure Harbor Freight's business model is they find a village in rural China that just entered the Industrial Revolution. And they have them build tools based just off a picture. But the village does not yet have the electricity to test the tools before they ship them out. And then ship it all the way from the middle of China to the coast, put it on a big boat to another coast, haul it all the way to Ohio for some hairy-shouldered, greasy wapdago to buy and then immediately throw in the trash. I'm not going to throw it in the trash. Probably eventually I'll take it apart and stick a real grinder on it. The principles are sound, just tool itself is a pile of steamy shit. So basically I had to do all my cuts, butts, and coconuts with my grinder, and that's fine. That was plan B anyway. Alright, so I used some flat stock. I was going to make the verticals first. So I made some little plates and drilled some holes in it. Usually I would recommend you use some type of cutting oil or WD-40, but I didn't have any, so I didn't. But it worked just fine. Pre-drilled some holes, made these plates, and then just welded them to a post, and I was mounting them inside the stringer. This is where shit got a little bit tricky here, is I wanted it to be real clean. I wanted to just see the post coming up out of there. So I used my old combo square. I'm a big fan of combos. I like pepperoni pizza flavors, my favorite combo, but my second favorite combo is the combo square. I use the combo square to get the spacing and then make sure you keep into account the thickness of the mounting plate. And Tina's your surrogate mother. And look at that, you got your little spot there. I took a razor knife. At first I was going to use a router, but then partly through I realized how stupid that was, so I just used my oscillating saw. I got a cute little carving chisel, which the curve of it matches the profile of the post. Hippie tap, tap, tap. Wood chisel the rest of the way, and then I went and I sharpened the end of one of the pieces of square tubing, so it's kind of like a chisel. Then I just pounded that dude right through the hole, and then pretty nice. Once I got my verticals in place, instead of using all the high school geometry that I slept through, I just took the handrail and I put it up there with some clamps, and I measured the nose of each step till it was the same height. And I used my angulator, and I used that to transfer that angle onto the verticals, and then cut them off with a grinder. In order to get all the fancy angle bits here, I made myself a jig. If you're doing any welding, make your jig out of wood, because then it starts burning sometimes and makes the job more exciting. Used a big framing square to make sure it was a perfect 90, so that way whatever I shoved in there real tight would come out 90 degrees. Little ticky-tack-tack, flip it over, check it again, tack-tack-tack-a-roo. I was ready to go. I used a very scientific method in order to maintain the same angles all the way down, and that's making the piece and then holding it underneath of it to make sure it's the same distance. I used exceptionally little math in the way I laid this out. Grippity grind 'em smooth, sprip sprap spray with some primer and paint, and black owl. You got yourself a sexy old handrail there. Isn't that great? I know a lot of you are going to be saying I should be wearing a mask, but my generation, we don't waste fumes. Ask any of the guys around town and they'll tell you I love caulk. This little top tip from Luke, almond or biscuit. caulking matches light wood really well. I didn't want to use wood filler here because metal and wood expand and contract at different rates, and latex caulking is going to give you a little bit of give. And what is life without a little bit of flexibility, folks? And despite my best efforts with the fire blankets, I did get some burn spots in the wood, so I just took a little chisel, give it a little spin, little wood filler, and where'd it go? Where'd it go? It disappeared. It's gone. It's magic. And would you look at that? Ain't that great? Great stuff. That's how the sausage is made.